Chad Durbin every week here on OTB talking baseball. You can talk to Durbs just about anything. We always appreciate his time here on Off the Bench, powered and driven every day by All-Star Toyota. Durbs, good morning. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning. Doing well this morning. Can't complain.
It seems like every year around this time, we're talking to you about the LSU offense trying to get on track. Another year, same conversation. When you see the offense, what do you see?
Yeah, I still like I like the approach. I think they ran into an arm. Anytime you get no hit, it kind of makes everybody go back to the drawing board, kind of figure out what's going wrong, what's happening, are we pressing? Do we need to change approach? Do we need to back off? Do we need to push? You kind of reshuffle the deck. I like the offense. I think the offense can be great. The arms are going to lead this team, to wherever they end up going. However they play in the SEC and whatever they end up doing in the postseason, that's what's going to lead this team. But, they've played better defense, from the eyeball test. They've got a little better there. Milazzo's, still great behind the plate. And I trust that. I trust that part of the game is going to go well. The bats are going to, Eddie's got a good idea. Like, you just really think about, what they have going on. And I think you have a lot of young players making an adjustment, to playing at this caliber of opposition on a regular basis. So, it's just an adjustment, and I think they'll dial it up and be fine. I wanted to pivot real quick. Kevin Faulk. I'll let you just being on the radio sometimes and being a retired, washed-up ball player and all that stuff, you kind of forget some of the cool things that you saw and did during your life. And, Kevin Faulk was still at LSU when I was drafted in 96. So 97 and 98, I worked out underneath the football stadium before they had all these really cool, sports-specific workout areas and stuff. And I watched some I don't know what I did in 97, 98, but I watched something, guys working out early, all that stuff. So I tried to get to the facility early, like 6 a.m., 6:15. And I walk in, I think I'm going to be the only guy in there on like a Thursday, Friday, and he's like sweating. He's like an hour and a half into his workout. And I go in, I do my stuff. Next day, same thing. Next day, same thing. Next week, same thing. And I tried to get there earlier and earlier. And finally at like a 4:45, 5:15 in the morning. Remember I was 19, 20 years old.
Wow.
He's sitting there with his hoodie over, and I was scared to death to even go talk to him because he was a legend when he was at LSU, and he's still one. But that's the tone that he's going to bring to this recruiting side. Like Coach O saying he's already there in the parking lot in his car doesn't surprise me at all. It immediately made me think about how early he was at the gym to get his work done.
That's that story.
College.
Yeah, well, that story you telling that brought me right back to Ogeron telling that story earlier this week of his first recruiting trip alongside Faulk. O prides himself in getting there early, and he gets there, and there's one car in the parking lot, and it's Kevin Faulk, so he knew it was a home run hire at that point. Yeah, Faulk was, for guys our age, Durbin, Faulk was, he is the legend. He is the guy, from a football standpoint.
He set the tone, man. He set the tone for what LSU could be, what they can be at the pro level. Even if they're not superstars, they can go win rings. They can go be that guy. Guarantee he was that guy for Belichick. Mm-hmm. First guy there, last guy to leave, outwork everybody. He's going to do the same thing on the coaching side. So I don't know why that was on my mind, but I can just remember walking up and being like, holy crap, he's here. Again, he's working harder than anybody else. And it kind of set the tone for me. That bar was set so high, like I need to work harder if I want to be better. And I think that's a great message for anybody. Look, Monday LSU's baseball team practiced because they got no hit or whatever, but maybe that's the tone set. Like, go out there, get there earlier, work harder, get better, and that seems like that works in any line of work or anything anybody's doing. But that one is Faulk, and then Marcus Allen. I'm kind of laughing at myself that I'm even on the list of guys on the show today.
It's a good one, man, and you fit right in. Chad Durbin joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. I heard you talk about approach at the plate and that you liked it. When I hear Joe Fan or when even I try to look at approach at the plate, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. I don't know what a good approach at the plate looks like. Explain to me or our listening audience what you're looking for when you see a good offensive approach.
look, as a former pitcher, I'm looking at their timing. When their foot's getting down, when they're starting to take their load into the zone with the barrel awareness, strike zone awareness, all that stuff. So there's just an optic for me that looks right, and maybe we're not barreling balls into gaps, and maybe we're not doing some of the stuff that looks great on a stat sheet or on the box score, but the aesthetics are fine. And I guess that's why I'm not in any kind of a panic as a casual viewer, because I think we've got guys that can hit, and I think we have guys that are going to put it together over these next couple of weeks. That part of it doesn't bother me. And I've had years where I've watched and it's been like, man, I don't see hitters. I see guys that are, just trying to keep up. I see a much better lineup this year.
Chad Durbin joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. When you see some of these freshmen get into the lineup, and there seems to be some of these first-year players that are going to have a lot counted on to be productive both on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. What are some of the things that are jumping out from the first-year players that you're seeing that are having that time to transition from fall league to high school pitching to now to the bigs, or big-time pitching, college pitching?
Yeah, well, I think these guys have faced these arms for the last couple of years of their high school select ball and their high school ball. So I don't feel like maybe they're trying to do too much at times. A lot of times you show up. A lot of these guys chose to come to LSU instead of take money. There's, once that's done, you're in college and you're going through your routine and you're going to school, you're going to practice. So that's not on the back of their mind, but it's in the back of my mind. And I think about like the talent level of a Doty, of a Milazzo, of all these guys. That stuff's going to play out over time. I mean, trying to do too much is for a lot of young guys, it is the normal. Like, you want to impress, you want to get the approval rating from everybody on social media or Paul and staff. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. So I think the swings, remember being 19 years old, your mentality and emotional swings are, much higher and lower than they are as you get a little bit older. And I think, the Cabreras and the Belosos and some of these older players, they're the ones that are going to set the tone for those guys. Like, look, yeah, he went 0 for 7, 0 for 8 on the weekend with 4 punch outs, but he did walk twice in big situations. Like, okay, I want to watch what he's doing. How is he practicing? How is he going about his stuff? So the young guys are talented. They've done such a good job on the recruiting side, bringing in guys that are mature at a young age, that are ready to play at a young age. Now it is a production level to some point, but I don't think Paul has ever panicked early in the season. I think he has his moments. I think we all have our moments, but I don't think he's going to panic at all. And what allows him to have even more of a runway built for them is that our arms are doing such a good job, and that they're going to continue to do a good job. So I don't think you have to, panic and just try to throw out a marginal defender for a bat, because we don't have to score 6 runs to win. So I think there's a little more rope out there for them.
Give me your thoughts on what you saw from the arms going up against those big lineups last weekend in Houston.
I mean, Labus was in complete and utter command. I mean, one pitch that is probably just a fly out to the warning track at LSU, home run. Henry, Hill, I mean, these guys are – look, Jaden Hill is 97 to 99. And, between him and Kumar Rocker, there's a lot of behind out there when they're throwing. I mean,
a lot of athletes.
Those are some grown men out there throwing a baseball. So, I just see guys that aren't afraid of contact, that have command of a secondary pitch, that look like no matter what's going on, that they're under control, they're not rattled, they have great composure and mound presence, and it's early still. So that's going to look good as the year goes on.
Chad Durbin every week here on Off the Bench. Great stuff as usual, man. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
All right, Jordy. Have a good one.
All right, man. Chad Durbin checking in here in ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.